Right. First, kind of recap a little bit. What a great environment that was, and really felt the Gator fans came out in full and in force. It was a lot of orange and blue. I think the people in our organization did an outstanding job down there with all the things that they had going, and I thought it was really good. I really felt the environment was not too big for our young guys. I thought our young guys played really well, and for the first time out against an opponent like that, obviously all phases need to continue to get better, and yet there was some really good performances by some guys, and as a whole the team fought all the way through. We disappointed with the outcome, and yet you learn from the outcome and keep moving forward. Look forward to this week, getting home to the Swamp, night game, and I know our guys are excited about playing at home. This is a special place, and look forward to the people coming out. On the injury report, a couple guys had MRIs yesterday. Still kind of waiting on some of those, but Chauncey Gardner, DeAndre Goolsby are both, two of the guys that got those x-rays. Kyle Trask actually on Thursday got rolled up. Looks like his foot may need a pin in it, so that's why he wasn't suited up for the game. But other than that, we came out of it pretty good. And for a physical game like that, that was good to see. We'll know on those guys later in the week, and obviously I'll let you know as soon as that happens. Obviously in DeAndre's case, Morrill Stevens came in, gave us some good reps, and he'll keep working there to leave. Jackson as well, and then with Chauncey, obviously Brad Stewart's got to have a really good week. Sean obviously will play, Sean Davis, but we'll need to make sure we're okay in that area, as well as Juwan Taylor, who had a really good week practice and did some really good things on special teams. So those guys are going to have to step in and pick up, especially with Nick kind of with his shoulder on and off a little bit, which is something we anticipated, and yet he finished the game and did some good things as well. So, but that's kind of it for the injuries and questions.
Yeah. Thomas?
Do you have an idea who you're going to start at quarterback?
Yeah, we'll go back with Felipe. That was kind of the plan, and I think both guys did some things they like back. Like I said, after the game, we talked about that, and that was kind of part of what we wanted to do. But we'll take a look at him going this week.
Yeah, when you look back at the tape and everything in retrospect, do you have any second guess about pulling Felipe when you did, not putting him back in, and sticking with Malik?
No, it was one of those things. We actually were going to go with Luke there in a 2-minute situation, and if there was something that would have probably been the one thing, and yet we just felt he gave us an opportunity there to maybe get out of some of the trouble that we were in, and but no, it's said this is going to be one of those things that we go and we get better at, and look forward to getting back home and playing this one.
And I've got this question from about 100 Gator fans.
Sure.
Have you thought at all about taking over the play calling?
It's one of those things where that there were a whole lot of things that in the plan, in the series that we were putting together. It's tough to call when they're in your back pocket all the time, and yet we got to we got to get better as a staff. We've got to make sure that things fit, and we'll put a plan together this week.
Edgar?
How much do you plan to alter your approach in the plan, given what you saw? I'm sure it wasn't what you expected.
I think the big thing there is, as far as a plan piece, an alternate, we've got to play with some pad level. I mean, that's the big thing. So as far as altering the plan, rather than 2 days a week in the cage, we'll be 5 days this week in the cage, just to reemphasize what we need to do from that standpoint. And, they jumped into a couple things that were a little different, but not anything that your rules don't plan. I thought we didn't handle that, especially in Series 3 and 4, after we had chalked it on the sideline. But, that's part of the game learning piece, and we've got to get better at that.
And on the offensive line, I mean, you grade the offensive line. Obviously, did anyone grade out better than you thought? And where do you think the breakdowns were?
Brett Hagee played pretty good. It's one of those young guys that wasn't too big for him at all. Thought our communication broke down at times as far as getting transferred from the center, outside. But one thing I want you to know is I believe in these guys. These guys believe in themselves. They looked at it. We've made corrections, and we're a pretty good football team. We're going to show that.
Mark and then Matt.
You don't think you misevaluated the offensive line?
I didn't think it'd be like that. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I thought it would be like that. I knew it'd be a physical game, and yet, our opportunities, especially on 1st and 10, and then getting behind the sticks the way we did, that was something that I knew was going to give us trouble if that occurred, and that sure as heck is what happened.
And just to double back on the play calling, you kind of, I don't know if you really answered the question there, but are you taking over play calling? Are you considering it?
No, we're not doing that right now, we need to make sure that the guys that need to touch it, and those things need to get called.
Matt, over to the right, Coach.
A housekeeping item. The 10 suspended players, do you expect any of them back this week?
Still haven't heard anything, and we'll see.
And James Robinson?
He'd be back this week. He had his suspension last week.
And then just on the quarterbacks, we've touched on and danced around it, but how do you evaluate their performances as a whole for Felipe and Malik?
Felipe, I thought, we obviously did exactly what he was supposed to do on the first play. He did get us a big first down on a 3rd down scramble. Ball security is an issue on the next one. But for the most part, probably missed. We missed on one of the play actions that we moved the pocket. We probably put it downfield when we should have come, to the over, and yet, those things happen. Left guard took the wrong step, stepped on his foot down the red area, or right guard, excuse me, and then on one of the other ones, the run back's path wasn't right. Which forced him down on one of the play actions as well. So those are obviously technical things, that hurt his performance. Were actually caused by others. And thought Malik, he was looking probably to get out of the pocket first before delivering the ball, and it's you can see that from the standpoint of the comfort piece, and that's something he's got to get better at.
Mark, over to the left.
Whether fair or not, the losses to Michigan, Florida State, and Alabama kind of get lumped together because.
No, I think it's fair because they're real programs.
Yeah, and does it give you an indication that you guys got a long way to go to get to that elite status?
No, it doesn't, and yet it also, I think, shows what we've got to build for, and no doubt about it. That's where we strive to be, and that's where we're going to get. But I don't think that's unfair at all.
Fill up those 16.
No, I really
Because
don't.
of your offensive performance in it?
I really don't. Yeah, and I think in those cases, we rather than being the aggressor, I think that we allowed those defenses to be the aggressor.
Tom?
First game with a lot of young defensive guys, new defensive coordinator. What was your evaluation after kind of watching the film?
Well, those guys played hard, and thought we did a really good job of shaking some of the things up front, with some of the games. Caused them a little issue. Today, Jordan Sherritt played lights out, as did Ja'Kai Polite. I think those two guys up front really had an impact. Chauncey was doing really well. I thought coming up, especially in the run game, when he was in there, some of those runs that broke, we weren't triggering quite quick enough at some of the safety spots. But that's one of those deals that again, you see it and you work on it. I did think that Colin Johnson, coming in off that injury, gave us a good breather there with those linebackers. But David Reese, I think, played fantastic, and I think overall the young guys played pretty darn well.
Ryan, over here to the right.
So what's the process been since Saturday with you and Doug reviewing things and figuring out a way to make sure that get-to list gets done, and how do you go about that this week, making sure that's not a problem again?
Just watching film together and putting the things in that need to get in, and we'll get it taken care of.
And as Pat mentioned, obviously a lot of the fans' ire is directed his way. You work closely with him.
It put the ire towards me. I mean, I'm the one responsible for it, and I'm planning on getting it fixed.
You have a different perspective on him, though. What is it that gives you confidence about his ability to get this thing going right?
I've seen what he can do. I've seen what he's done, and he's a guy that it takes a lot of it personal, and sometimes. In this business, and that's the way it is, whether it's the quarterback, whether it's the coordinator, whatever, that's part of the gig. And yet, also we've got to, step up around it too, and make sure that we're getting some things accomplished in some other spots.
Edgar?
Playing off that with the fans, what is your overall message to fans who are distraught, concerned after the way things stand right now?
Well, I think it's one game, and yet, I just love the fact we have fans. I think that's a good thing, right? And I don't take that as a negative at all. That's one of the things that drew me here was the fact that there's a lot of passionate people out there for the Gators, and you know what, we're all entitled to our opinion, and I appreciate it, and I just know that we're working to build this thing into something great.
How much of that even touches you, or you hear? Do you even get a sense of it? You guys have that bunker mentality and work so many hours.
I learn more from you guys probably than I do anything, which I take more than with just a grain of salt. I get it, and yet the bunker piece of it, you know that the work you put in, you know how hard you work at it, and getting the people in place to go ahead and make plays, that's kind of the biggest piece, and we'll continue to work on that. But the vocation we've chosen, it's part of the gig, and one thing I've never really worried about it, because I know how hard we work and know how complete we do things.
Pat?
When you're coming off a loss like this, Jim, how much of it, when you're on the practice field and in meetings, is ass chewing, and how much of it is encouragement? You got a fine line there.
No, it is, and yet I think the biggest piece is less the ripping as much as really the constructive teaching and look, is this how you were taught to do this? And more so, what do we do to correct it? You know, look, these guys are disappointed now. I mean, the loss hurt, and yet we've got a couple more games to play this year, and so to put all your eggs in that basket, which we didn't, I think is not the right thing. But I do believe the piece of constructive teaching and letting your peers know, you know, this is what it is, and as we've always said, you know, you got to be proud of what you put on film, and that's key.
Also, there were two plays in that game where it appeared to be targeting. They reviewed them; neither one was targeting. Do you think that, or have you been told that the targeting rule is different this year, or changed in any way?
You know, no, it hasn't. In fact, it's still a point of emphasis. The review piece, obviously, the way they saw the review, that's, you know, they had to look at it, and you know, both were overturned. Obviously, you know, one was flagged on us, the other one was stopped, you know, by the people in the booth to take a look at it. You know, different leagues, different things. You know, obviously with the review piece, and you know, sometimes guys are quick to throw it, and yet, you know, it's bang bang play. You know, I don't envy what those guys have to do. I think the fact that we have review, I think it's good that there is an emphasis on it, because it has truly cleaned up the game.
When you watched it on video though, or did you? I mean, both of them were helmet to helmet.
You really want me to get fined, don't you?
Working on it.
You're doing a good job.
Well, I mean, there were one on each side, so it wasn't like, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, though.
You answered the question.
Got it right.
In saying that Brad Stewart and Jawan Taylor have to step up this week, are you not optimistic that Chauncey will be able to go?
You know, as of right now, I haven't read the MRI, and even if I did read it, I wouldn't know what I was looking at. But, you know, that's what we're waiting on, so we'll see.
When you went back and watched film, did you have any more thoughts on those freshman DBs and what they showed, what they had to work on, what was good?
Yeah, I think, you know, as asked earlier, I was happy with, more than anything, how they kind of stepped up to the moment. It was by no means too big for them, and that's one of the things you worry about a little bit with guys that have never played in that kind of environment. I think playing in that environment is something that's going to really help us down the road, and with those young guys, because you know, we got loud in there. You know, there was one time we got caught on same levels. They missed the throw down the red area and made a pick to it, but you know, that's two freshmen not communicating with each other, one on, one off, to eliminate the pick, you know, route, in rub route, not pick, but you know, that they checked to, they just didn't hit it. But those are some of the things that obviously you learn. Really, is that more so the communication with each other.
Mark over the left.
Not to take anything away from your opponent this week, but do you need a game like this maybe to get your confidence back?
You know, I think whether it's a game like this or whatever, I just know our guys got to go out and play again. But we've got to have a good week of practice in doing that. You know, and you can't feel sorry for yourselves. You know, sometimes when you go through whatever it is you do, doesn't work out the way you want it. You've got a choice to sit there and you know, pout and cry about it, or you got a choice to sit there and go do something about it. And you know, I'm excited to get back on the field tonight.
Thomas.
On a Monday going into game week, I know you said you haven't heard anything on the suspensions. I guess I'm kind of wondering, if say you hear something Wednesday, or is that too late to get them involved in the mix, or they just jump right in?
I mean, I haven't thought about it, only because I think about that when it happens.
Brad, you want to
Felipe seemed very calm out there. Is his demeanor one of his strengths?
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, even going in, knowing the plan a little bit, I thought he handled it well, and he's going to be a good player.
You kind of see sticking with him now for a while. Kind of grow the offense with him.
Yeah, we'll look at that, and we've got this week of practice, and then the game, and then we'll evaluate after that.
Sorry, Nick.
The run pass discrepancy, was it kind of just taking care of Felipe, letting him get his feet wet before asking him to drop back and throw as much early on?
Yeah, but we felt like going in, we could do some things with some shifts and motions, and get something out of the run game.
And then was there ever any concern about pulling a young quarterback and having, or was that part
I
of the
don't think so, because we talked about it before. So, yeah.
How big of a part of the offense is the deep ball, and is that a significant blow when you don't have the time to throw it?
Yeah, it is, and yet it's also one of the things, if you're going to do it, is use your play action and block it up, right? So that's something we're going to do.
Edgar.
I know you don't want the punter being the MVP, but I mean, can you just kind of talk about the performance of Townsend? I mean, it was pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it really was. The amazing thing is they actually had some return yardage because he kicked it so far, and yet his net was still 44, 45. And I thought our coverage units did a really good job for the most part. Kind of waiting for the guy to catch it. We've got to go trigger on that. Our gunners were down there, but with that, our protection was good, and he looked really comfortable back there. Again, that's a guy that's a weapon.
And how did Eddie react after missing? He had missed a field goal in like a year almost.
No, but he's pretty resilient. He realized what he did. He hustled his approach a little bit and pulled it, which is not something that happens to him off that hash. A little surprising, actually. But I know he wasn't concerned about the wind. It was a pretty sterile environment in there.
Well, that series, the way, not much, you didn't get much out of it, and there was a lot of momentum, and you guys favored that point. I'm sure you've looked back at a lot of college you wish you'd had back. What was the thinking on that series? Not maybe quick striking them and.
Well, we're hoping to do that on play 2, knowing that your sudden change thing usually is watch the deep ball on the first one, so they play defense and then let them come back. So.
Any final questions?
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.